which is on the topic, the need of the hour, data protection and data security, real life lessons learned. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Raakesh Thayyil, who is Head of Data Protection and Investigations at Flipkart. Giving a brief introduction, Mr. Raakesh is a retired Lieutenant Colonel of Indian Army with 22 years of experience in information security, IT, telecommunication, and program management. He is currently with Flipkart as the Head of Data Security and Security Investigations and was earlier with PwC, India's cybersecurity and data privacy practice. With this, please welcome Mr. Raakesh with a huge round of applause.
Oh, thanks. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, firstly, my job is to keep all of you awake, right, after the sumptuous lunch that we have all had. And I've been asked to cover about 2 hours of talk into 10 minutes. So let me see how I can squeeze it all in, right? You can expect me to be rushing through things. And I was planning for about 10 minutes of questions that I think we can take it one-to-one, right? So I'll straight away start off with what are the challenges that we face in information security, right? The first thing is we have a very complex environment. You work with privacy, you work with SecOps, AppSec, the whole gamut of things comes in security, right? You have your physical security, you have your BRM teams, ERM teams, everyone will come to you, fraud, right? When I joined Flipkart, I got a shock of my life and when I realized that I'm also responsible for fraud activities, right? So if you see this, the graphics will be pretty dull because I try to squeeze in a lot of things, plus there are around 2 to 5 links hidden on each page. So I didn't want those links to keep opening up. I've given a flat file which has reduced the graphic quality. I'll share the actual deck on my LinkedIn and you can pick it up there. I'm sure you'll find it very interesting with all the resources that you can access, right? Now, moving on from the ecosystem, what happens is the expectations from the CISO and the information security team also are equally large, right? Every week you'll realize that some new requirement is there from you or someone reaches out to you, right? And you are not the correct person for that. But the expectation still comes on information security, that you are expected to actually do this. And this is the CISO mind map, right? You can see what all is expected from you, right? You can barely read what is there. And that is intentional, right? It is just to give you a view of what the things are, right? And biggest bugbear, number of tools and vendors, right? I'm sure all of you face this issue where you have too many tools in your own environment, right? You have a huge volume of alerts, your teams are overwhelmed, your teams are under-resourced, and basically nobody is able to manage that whole setup which is there, right? Only way out, you have to optimize your tools, you have to implement automation, and you need to go in for machine learning tools. Without that, security is going down the drain in a matter of time. Just the enormous number of alerts, right? It's in a million or two a year. No teams can manage that manually. And what you end up with is this, right? More noise, hardly any signal. I'm sure you can't even make out that signal is written there. But this is the actual situation. This is what I face on a day-to-day basis. What do you prioritize? What do you score on a higher priority? How do you do that? You can't do it manually. You do need automation, you do need analytics tools which help you classify the risk, classify the high priority activities. And if you do not go towards that, I can tell you in another year or two, you will be swamped. You will not be effectively and proactively managing your security posture, right? And we all know where that leads. Now, that is where we are. This is where we are supposed to be, right? Data security is to be the part of the whole data governance structure, right? We are barely able to keep up with our current requirements, leave alone reaching the stage where we should be. And data security is one of the foundational requirements for data governance. If you are going towards big data, if you're going towards artificial intelligence, machine learning, first phase foundational requirement is data security. If you do not have data security in place, your data governance is going to fail, your data analysis is going to fail, right? You'll just be trying to fix the gaps every time. And this is my personal view. I feel cybersecurity, though we consider ourselves separate from risk management, I feel end of the day, cybersecurity is risk management, right? Because if you do not reduce your risks, where is cybersecurity? Where is your security posture going to go, right? I know most of you will not agree. Like I said, my personal view. Pardon me going so quickly through things, right? But given the paucity of time and me trying to keep you awake, hopefully my speed will do that. Right? What we should actually have is that security and privacy should be embedded in your entire process, right from your requirements to your deployment. And if you're following an agile process, it is required, right? You would need to move to a DevSecOps way of working. You would need your CI/CD pipelines. Otherwise, security, privacy are generally afterthoughts, right? A day before the tool is to be deployed, the team will come and say, hey, we need a go ahead, can you do the AppSec review? Can you, do the TPRM for a vendor? And yeah, we would like it in 2 hours if you can do it, right? Practical situation which happens regularly. The other solutions, you need to implement security by designs. The security by design principles, if you do follow, right? If your organization implements those, security by design, privacy by design, it makes for a much smoother deployment cycle, right? Same, privacy by design. You need to have this implemented, right? Security and privacy go hand in hand. You cannot have data privacy without data security, right? And many teams, many companies will realize that the operational part of data privacy is handled by information security. You might have a governance structure for data privacy, but your data security is handled by the InfoSec teams, right? This is difficult to actually implement. It's very easy. It looks beautiful on a slide like this. Implementing it is not easy. It is always a work in process, right? And it is required. Another important part, security for this entire life cycle, right? Implementing DevSecOps, implementing a CI/CD pipeline alone is not enough. You need to then go and make sure all aspects of this is secure, right from your endpoints to your perimeter, right? You need to have defense in depth. If you do not, you will realize that your DevSecOps process itself is leaky. Your CI/CD pipeline itself is leaky, right? And actual scenarios where we have faced, right, huge amounts of data being inadvertently shared, blocked by us, right? But in the first place, you shouldn't have that sharing happening, all right? So you will realize that implementing CI/CD, implementing DevSecOps, implementing agile processes alone is not enough. Implementing machine learning alone is not enough. You need to secure that. Everyone is now picking and lifting, moving to the cloud. But are you ensuring that your cloud is secure? Most times you will realize that your cloud deployments are misconfigured, basic misconfigurations, right? Ports open, VMs accessible publicly. You carry out an assessment of your cloud security or get a third-party assessment, you will be shocked at the number of gaps which are there, the number of misconfigurations which are there, right? The first time I did a cloud security posture review, when I was working as an independent consultant, I was shocked, right? What the hell are they doing actually? So how do you actually secure data? The first approach, have defense in depth, right? You need to have defense in multiple layers. If you rely only on perimeter security, if you rely only on endpoint security, you are setting yourself up for failure. This is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, right? There are multiple moving parts, multiple teams involved, IT, your engineering teams, HR, business, it's a cybersecurity is a whole of business function. Everyone has to be involved, everyone has to be supportive. Unfortunately, it does not happen everywhere, every time, right? Everyone is talking of zero trust, right? It's very nice to talk of ZTNA, it's very nice to talk of SASE. When you get down to actually deploying it, you will realize it is not as easy as it is sold to you, right? It involves a lot of steps, involves a lot of changes in your tooling, in your coding itself, right? Because everything is not set up for this, all right? But it is a very good approach. It is essential. On the actual deck, if you go and click on those zeros, you'll find some interesting stuff over there, right? Having your unified identity access management, essential. You will find many places where they have two, even 6 ID providers that I've seen, right? It's a mess. If you have more than one ID provider, you are a mess. Most of us are in that situation, right? Cloud security, I've already spoken to you about it. Please focus on this. It is the way of the future, and basic mistakes happen in a lift and shift to the cloud, right? If you ask any of the GCP or AWS to carry out an assessment for you, their report will shock you. All right. The last point, communication security, right? And within communication security, specifically email security, API security, everything is moving to APIs, right? If your APIs are not configured properly, if your APIs are not assessed by AppSec, all right, you will realize APIs itself will leak a lot of data. I've seen cases where the API has public access, and the API is actually handling sensitive personal information, right? But the access is available publicly. Anyone can pick up that API and use it. And you know what the hackers will use that API for, right? Now, since I'm short of time, we all know all the various frameworks which you can use, right? You can pick and choose, you can make a mix of these, and everyone has got a very good starting ground for moving on with these things. I personally like the NIST cybersecurity framework because it's also got a NIST privacy framework and a risk management framework. You can pick and choose, make your high-level model there. You can use the CISO, CIS, or 𝗏𝗏 frameworks, even ITL, to actually implement the security controls, right? So this 𝗏𝗏 board is all the various frameworks and standards that you have. And last, I have the point to convey is that cybersecurity is a journey. You will never reach a stage where you can say you're fully secure, right? I've got the bell for 10 minutes. I'll take 2 questions, all right? And sorry for rushing through, but I think I've been successful in doing it in 10 minutes, right? Any questions? You can just shout it out.
Yeah, I'm Ajay from Aptean. Okay, so one of the things what you mentioned that like typically development team comes and that, okay, release is over here. Now give me the security report. Okay, so 2 questions on that. Question number 1, how many releases in a day you do? Okay, what's your release frequency? Number 2, that when the release is coming to you for clearance, what are the things you do? One of them could be pen testing.
So for us, I won't answer the number of releases question, but what we have is we have an integrated process where our AppSec team is integrated with our dev teams. So we do carry out the assessments as part of it. We have tools like CAST, DAST, which are deployed, which enable us to actually carry out the security reviews on the go. So we are not fully there, we are moving there. Any other questions?
Hello. Yeah, hi, thanks for a very nice session. So my name is Kuldeep, and I want to ask, like you said, that DevSecOps journey is very difficult and difficult to achieve. So want to hear from you.
So why it is difficult to achieve is not because of the technical factors. It is just a resistance to change, right? Getting people to change the way they do things. Technical things, you can fix it. Getting people to change their mindset is where you'll find it difficult.
But this is always from top driven, right? The
Doesn't
security
matter.
you can't.
Unless your
can't
coder
avoid.
changes his mind, it doesn't matter. Whether your CEO says, your CTO says, CISO says, or the head of engineering says, till the person on the ground changes his mind, you will realize there's no point.
I do not agree with this statement. Sorry.
You are entitled to your viewpoint, I'm entitled to mine, and we're all entitled to each of our viewpoints. And like I said, there is no right or wrong answer in security.
Thank you.
Right? So I think that's it. If you want to discuss anything, I'll be here for some more time. Please feel free. And thank you everyone, and I hope I've kept you all awake.
Great.